Your sorrow is as divine as your joy. I think that philosophy, more than any other, got me through the dark days of COVID in 2021. I, like a lot of people, had a lot of losses, and I, like a lot of other people, tried to do the best we could to figure out the best way to get through it. The way that I usually exercise my demons is by writing melodies and music and lyrics, and this time was no exception. Writing lyrics for me has always been a kind of therapy, and it allows me to be vulnerable and just put it all down on a page and get it all out. Never in a million years did I ever think I would be singing those things in front of, a bunch of people, but life is crazy. The overall tone of the record is a little bit more somber than we had originally intended, but that's what happens. Life just kind of goes on and you roll with the punches.
As you drive east out of downtown Cleveland, you come up this hill, and for a moment the streets become more organic and winding, and there's a lot more trees. Some of the streets are lined with 200 or 300-year-old oak trees, so it feels like all of a sudden you're in nature. And we live on the edge of Cleveland Heights, next to some lakes and wooded areas where you can hear coyotes at nighttime. There's a lot of deer, things like that. So it's kind of inspiring, I guess, being able to live this close to nature. We record everything on the third floor of our house. Our studio is full of amps and guitars and pedals, and everything is always on and ready to go for whenever we feel like recording something. Sometimes even the parts that end up on our records are the very first time that we played it. I typically use orange amps for the majority of the guitar tones. Sometimes I'll accent that with some Marshall amps or a Mad amp, or I have a Laney. Also on this record, we use some smaller amps. Eric has a Fender Deluxe, and I got a Fender Twin Reverb from the 80s that just, I think, bring a whole new dimension to what we do. And you can hear a lot of the Fender amps on our song Skin and Sorrow. Gwen's vocals on Skin and Sorrow are amazing. I mean, the vocal harmonies that she comes up with are so unique and, distinctly her. And I think it's something that really helps make, all the songs on this record or any record that we make so special.
The title song, Skin and Sorrow, is written from the point of view of someone watching someone close to them dying. That song, as well as Perfect Wound, is really difficult for me to get through without crying. It's extremely personal. As difficult as it is, there's also hope in the lyrics. You go through it, and while every tear feeds your fear, you have to find the light at the end of the tunnel, even though it is so difficult. And you have to figure out what you were meant to learn from this experience, what you were meant to learn to be able to move up to a different spiritual tier, or however you want to see it. But that's what everything is in life. Life is perfect. Everything that happens is meant to happen, and we just have to figure out what the meaning is behind it. I think that when you look at things that way, it's easier to get through your pain and to get to a point where you can actually make peace with it.
Our song Bright Eyes is a collaboration with this dude, King Midnight, who posted the main riff on Instagram, and I reached out to him and I asked him if he wanted to work with us on the song, and he agreed. So the main chorus riff he wrote, and then we filled in the verses and bridge, and then Glenn wrote all the lyrics on top of it.
Lyrical and Revenge is probably one of my favorite songs on the album, if not the favorite song on the album for me, because I just love how driving it is, and I just love the drums. And when Sean wrote the riff and he played it for me, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he wrote that one, and I want to thank also the riff for All the Things I Was on the same day. And I was like, what is happening? This is amazing. Like these are both so incredible, and I just love them so much. I wanted to keep the melody very simple, and I wanted to keep the lyrics very simple as well, and not make them overly flowery or anything like that, because I just wanted them to, I think for me, the riffs and the drums in this song are just the star of the show, so I wanted to kind of give them room to really show up.
Would you die for me like you promised?
When I was growing up, one of the biggest musical influences on me was this band from West Virginia called Karma to Burn. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and I would see them come up and play when I was like 18, and just, huge inspiration on me. Years later, I got in this band Disengage, and we would play a lot of shows with Karma to Burn and other bands like Clutch and Deftones and things like that. But Karma to Burn always held like a special place, for me musically. And then fast forward to like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I ended up through a cosmic set of events, getting Will's JCM 800 rig, the head and both cabs. And then recently, unfortunately, Will passed away. And I wanted to do an homage to, one of my biggest musical influences. So our song Sacrificant, towards the end of it, there's an homage to Karma to Burn, and that's using Will's JCM 800 head, which I use a lot on the record to accent kind of like the higher notes and octaves and things like that.
All the Things I Was is another one of my favorite songs on the album. And like I said previously, Sean wrote that riff on the same day that he wrote Lyrical and Revenge, and that whole day just blew my mind. I was so impressed with him. The lyrics in the song are like a lot of my other lyrics about former experiences that I've had, and this one is about former heartbreak and what I went through at a time where I was a lot younger and probably more naive and just had my heart broken, but I learned from it and moved on. In this song as well, because I was so enamored with what Sean was doing with the riff, I just kept the melody kind of simple and lots of space so that you could hear what he was doing below it, because to me that was the big thing in this song. I just love the EBow and the way that it makes everything sound. So just recently we had the unforgettable opportunity to actually tour with the legendary Cradle of Filth.
We started working with a new management company, the Lyrical management, which is Dez and his wife Anastasia. Dez is the singer of Cold Chamber and Devil Driver, and he was able to put us on direct support with Cradle of Filth for 15 shows all over North America.
It was definitely an opportunity that we didn't want to miss. The crowds were incredible. I was a little worried at the beginning that they might not kind of get what we were trying to put out there, but they were very receptive, and it was just, again, it was an unforgettable opportunity.
Yeah, as Gwen mentioned, this tour was an incredible opportunity. We really didn't know what to think going in, but we ended up getting along with the crew and the band. Amazing. And the last show, Cradle actually, I guess, did a prank by bringing balloons on stage during our last song. And then, so to retaliate, our drummer, John, had the idea that we all dress up like Ashok, who dresses up like Pinhead. So we all painted ourselves in Pinhead makeup and rushed the stage for Cradle's last song. So definitely a great time.
The End of Isolation tour in Europe was amazing. It was a blessing and a curse. It was amazing to be back out on the road again. We all love it. We brought our bassist Jason and Barrett along, the drummer, along this time because Eric and Pat could not make it. So it was a ton of fun. I've known Jason for a number of years, so it was great to get back with him and kind of spend more time and get to know him a little bit better. We did have a couple of instances where we were a little nervous when we were there because new restrictions were being announced in a couple of different countries while we were there, and so we were nervous that we weren't going to be able to make it into those countries to play. But luckily for us, we were very blessed, and things didn't happen until we actually left and got home.
Touring Europe is always a special experience. I mean, everything from, the clubs, lighting, sound, the way they treat bands over there. The fans just seem super, super passionate about music. It's always incredible, and experiences like that, I think, start to show themselves in some of the songs that we're writing and the way we approach music. And we're just really excited for everyone to hear this record.